Hey everyone, welcome back. Can you hear that? Anyway. Hey everyone, welcome back to Leandra the TBR Zero. Today I am going to go through my March TBR list. And before I get into that though, I think I should reflect back on how February went. And while I had read 5 great books, which I believe averaged to about a 4-star rating, which I am not complaining about, I did unfortunately not end up finishing the TBR that I originally set out to complete. And so rather than putting them back on my shelves to collect more dust and wait another day for me to finally pick them up, I've decided that instead I'm just going to add them and label them backlist reads for my March TBR. So yes, it would be smart if I then lessened the number of books I plan to read for March. However, apparently I can't learn from my mistakes. So I have quite a few books that are sitting below the camera at the moment, and I'm going to go through them and let you guys know what I intend to read. At the moment, I am tallying, I believe, 269 books now for my physical TBR, and I want to say that most of the books I intend to read for March are actually already on my physical TBR and they aren't pre-orders. However, by the time I get through them and start talking, I don't know, I'm starting to get nervous. I might have more pre-orders than I thought. But without further ado, let's get into it. Before I go into the books that I intend to read for March, I'm obviously currently reading a few books for March at the moment, and so I'm gonna let you guys know what my current reads are. The first book that I'm reading right now is Anonymous Sex. If you saw my February TBR video, this title may be familiar to you, and that's because I originally put it on my February TBR list. And I don't know, there's a few reasons why February might have been a hard month for me to finish my TBR. One of them being that February is only 28 days. It doesn't seem like that much shorter, but every day counts when you're trying to read all of the books on your monthly list. And on top of that, I was quite busy in February, so most of my reading was occurring on the weekends, and 2 of the weekends this past month were dedicated to visiting friends, which of course you're not going to spend most of your time reading when you're catching up with the people you care about and you haven't seen in a while. So I definitely don't regret my decisions, but you know, I didn't get as much reading done, and that's why I'm still currently reading Anonymous Sex, which is an anthology, a collection of erotic stories, and I'm actually really enjoying it, and I'm hoping that this month I'll be able to post a reading vlog. It's wild, but it's really thought-provoking at the same time, so having a lot of fun with this one. The other book that I'm currently reading is actually not one that was meant to be on my March TBR, I guess, or I'm not technically counting it because it's actually a book that I need to read for one of my graduate courses, and that is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And this is a classic novella by Robert Louis Stevenson, and I believe it was published in 1886. So what's interesting about this is it's, of course, giving me very Sherlock Holmes vibes, which makes sense because Doyle and Stevenson were writing around the same time, and this is also a mystery of sorts, and I've never actually read it, though of course most of us know by cultural references, you know, this idea of Jekyll and Hyde, a book of madness kind of thing. So I'm really liking it so far though, and you know, it's for school, so it's kind of nice when you actually get to read a book that you're having fun with and it's work, so not complaining about that either. Now, books 3 and 4 kind of go together because I think I'm going to do a reading vlog with them, but the third book that I plan on reading for March is From the Desk of Zoe Washington. This is another book you may recognize from my February TBR video because I never got to it, and because I'm so excited to actually read it, because it has been on my shelf for a little while now that I think about it. I'm not going to take any excuses, and it's going to be one of the first reads that I get through for March, and I'm actually hoping to get through it this coming weekend. And I intend to pair it with my fourth book, and that fourth book is The Keeper. And I'm really excited about this because this was one of the pre-orders that I was anticipating. It's along with actually Zoe Washington. Both of these books are middle grade mysteries. What's interesting, the fact that I'm pairing them together, is that this seems a bit spookier, and this one seems to be more of a kind of domestic family oriented mystery, and I can't wait to read them together and hopefully create a reading vlog with both of them. Hey guys, it's Leandra still, but we're reaching the halfway mark of this video, and so I thought I'd pop in and just remind you that if you're enjoying yourself, how about you give the video a like, consider subscribing and ringing the little bell so that when I'm making more videos like this, you'll be one of the first ones to know. I really appreciate all of your support, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Bye guys! The fifth book that I'm planning on reading, and I swear I'm going to read it if it kills me, is Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. And this is the third and final book that I did not end up reading in February. And with this one, I'm definitely blaming my fear of rather large reads. It's not that I don't think I'll enjoy it, because I actually think I'll be sucked in and want to get to the end as quickly as possible because I'm so invested. But it's just that it's 600 pages, and when it comes to these big books, I'm someone who really wants hours and hours consecutively to read them, and when you only get an hour here, an hour there, a half an hour before bed, it's really hard. So that's why I think maybe March will be good, especially because I've got spring break coming up, and hopefully the timeline will match up and this will be one of the reads that I read during that week. And to go along with that theme of fantasy, speculative kind of fiction, the next book that I plan on reading is Reclaim the Stars, and this is another collection of stories. It's kind of weird because I don't tend to read collections very often, but I'm liking the idea of collections where every story is by a different author, because my own background is that usually it's a collection of stories written by one author, and for some reason that doesn't seem to be as varied in writing styles or in character conflicts. But with Reclaim the Stars, I feel pretty confident that it's going to be very diverse in the types of stories that we have going. It is labeled a YA fantasy collection, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's pretty much offering princesses warring in space, haunting ghost stories in Argentina, mermaids off the coast of the Caribbean, swamps that whisper secrets, etc. So I'm really excited to not only read more YA, because like I said in other videos, that's just not a category that I tend to pick up for no reason, genuinely for no reason, because last month I read The Bone Spindle, which is a YA fantasy, and I absolutely loved it. So I just don't think I know which books to pick, and so then I just don't pick any. So this one, I didn't know it was YA when I ordered it, so this is a pleasant surprise. And the fact that they're fantasy short stories, I think, is also pretty unique, because usually fantasies involve really complex world building, and so I'm looking forward to how it's done by these authors. And all of these authors, I'm pretty sure, are Latinx, which is fabulous, because I've been meaning to put more Latinx authors into the mix of my reading. So I just can't wait. I really can't wait for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm on book 7, and it's called Obsessed. Now I'm really intrigued because this wasn't a pre-order. However, it is a newly added book to my collection, mainly because the author selected me as one of their beta readers, requested that I would be willing to read it for March, and I said yes. And I'm really nervous about reading this author's last name, because it's way more letters than I think I'm prepared to read. But her name is M.K. Smoragowicz. Here, let me put it up here. That might be helpful. Her name is McCary, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, McCary, and she seems like a lovely person, and I'm really excited to read this because it was described to me as there seems to be kind of fantastical domestic thriller vibes, but there's romance that's happening as well. So basically it says, Hannah has it all. The perfect baby sister, her one true love, a job that she adores, and an amazing best friend. However, behind closed doors, her life is a different story filled with neglect, fighting, and hate. Someone in her life, someone obsessed, has taken it upon themselves to make sure she no longer has to endure those troubles. She will have to act to save her life and the life of another in a race against the clock. So I'm pretty excited because I'm going to be pairing this book with the 8th book that I plan on reading, and that is The Lake of the Dead. And this one I'm really thrilled about because this actually was a pre-order. I know, I need to get my pre-orders in check. I just think that this publishing season has just had a lot of books that I'm really interested in, and who knows, maybe down the line there just won't be books that are published that will grab my attention as much. So that's why I'm kind of picking them up now and anticipating that there'll be a lull in pre-orders that I'm interested in, hopefully. But with this one, I saw it on a most anticipated list by some other creator, and it's by Andre Bjerke or Bjerke. Basically, he is a Norwegian author. However, the plot thickens because this is a classic Norwegian thriller or horror story, I think. It says it's a 1942 classic that has been voted Norway's all-time best thriller, a brilliant mix of mystery and the supernatural. And I'm pretty sure this is the first time, or at least the first time in a long time, that it's been translated into English. So I'm looking forward to kind of expanding my horizons, especially in the thriller genre, because usually the thrillers I pick up are by British or American authors. So yeah, can't wait to add this additional translation to my list. Yes, I have more books. Oh my gosh. So book number 9 that I'm hoping to read in March is The Tree Line, and it's by Ben Rollins. You can see the tagline is The Last Forest and the Future of Life on Earth, and the cover's gorgeous, breathtaking. It's probably gonna make me cry or frustrated, angry, all of the above, because this is a nonfiction book, and I've also been trying to read at least one nonfiction a month. With that said, I didn't read any nonfiction last month, but I read 2 in January, so it's kind of rolling over. But this book was gifted to me by a fellow Instagrammer who is a lovely bookish friend of mine that I've just recently befriended, and she had this book as an ARC, and when she put up the review, I was immediately hooked, and I wanted to read it so badly that I just, I told her that. I was like, I'm really looking forward to when this book finally comes out, which it has. Came out February 15th this year. And basically she said, well, let me just send it to you. Like, I've read it, I loved it, and now I want to pass it forward. And so she ended up sending it to me as a little package, and I'm so appreciative of it. Her name's Rebecca, and I want to make sure her handle is correct, but I want to say it's Berry Book Reviews or something like that. I'll put it down here, so if I'm wrong, base it off of the handle that I'm going to be putting on the screen. But she's the kindest person, and I just can't wait to read it, so thank you so much if you're watching. Finally, book 10. Oh my gosh, I already know this is going to be a disaster, but I'm going to push through. The 10th book I'm going to read is Red, White, and Royal Blue. This is a book that blew up when it first was published, and pretty much everyone under the sun has read it already, but I haven't. And that is mainly because I don't want to say I'm not into romance, because I actually am. I love it when a novel has a subplot of romance that I wasn't expecting. It's so much fun. However, I don't think I am knowledgeable enough in my own preferences for what kind of romances I like to read to pick up a book that is fully dedicated to a completely, or at least mainly, romance-focused conflict. For instance, I don't know, friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, fake dating. There's just so many different tropes. It overwhelms me and I don't know which ones to pick. And so usually when I'm overwhelmed, I just stick to what I know. But I'm in a book club and the book club chose this book for the month of March, and I was like, this is perfect. I'm finally gonna dip my toes in a little bit more into romance. And so I'm really looking forward to reading this book, especially since everybody has pretty much loved it. I don't think I've ever seen a negative review about this book. So yeah, this is my 10th book. I can't wait, especially with some of the heavy reads I have. I'm gonna slip this one in at some point when I need kind of a fun read. So that is 10 books for March. I don't know if you guys believe in me. I don't know if I believe in me, but I'm pretty excited about the books I've picked. And they're pretty diverse. I mean, I've got adult, YA, as well as middle grade. I've got a nonfiction in there. And I even have romance and fantasy, which are two genres that I don't tend to dip my toes in. So I think there's enough variety where I won't be getting bored in a sense, or I won't be suddenly feeling that I need to take a pause on reading, especially, you know, when you tend to read, say, the same genre or something, or maybe the same author, you kind of feel like you need to take a step back for a moment. But there's so much variety in this stack that I'm really looking forward to it. And I would love to know if any of these reads are on your current TBR list as well, or if you've read them and you have some strong opinions or feelings about them, whether good, bad, in between. I'm here to hear that. I'm here for that. I want to listen to your comments, or at least read them. And if you've made it to the end of the video and you find yourself enjoying this, then maybe give the video a like and consider subscribing to my channel, because I intend to make more videos in the future, crossing my fingers, and hopefully I can keep up this content. So thank you guys so much, as always, for spending some of your day with me, and I hope you have a great one. Okay, bye guys.